Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Sunday, August 5th, 2018. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's baseball games, look ahead to today's slate of games, and continuing my NFL rankings portion of segments of my podcast. Today is going to be the quarterbacks. All right, yesterday's baseball. Game 1 of a doubleheader between the Reds and the Nationals. The Reds took it 7-1 as they improved to 49-61. The Nats dropped to 55-54. Anthony DeSclafani improves to 5-3. Gio Gonzalez drops to 6-8. The Cubs defeated the Padres 5-4 as they improved to 64-46. The Padres dropped to 43-70. Kyle Hendricks improves to 8-9. Walter Lockett drops to 0-2. Pedro Strop gets his 7th save of the year. The Red Sox defeated the Yankees 4-1 as they improved to 78-34. The Yanks dropped to 68-41. Nate Eovaldi improves to 5-4. Chance Adams drops to 0-1. The White Sox defeated the Rays 2-1 as they improved to 40-70. The Rays dropped to 56-55. Xavier Cedeno improves to 2-0. Yanni Chirinos drops to 0-4. Thiago Vieira gets his first save of the season. The Phillies defeated the Marlins 8-3 as they improved to 62-48. The Marlins dropped to 46-66. Zach Eflin improves to 8-3. Jose Arena drops to 3-11. The Cardinals defeated the Pirates 8-4 as they improved to 57-54. The Pirates dropped to 57-54. Dakota Hudson improves to 2-0. Alex McRae drops to 0-1. Game 2 of the doubleheader between the Reds and the Nationals. The Nationals defeat the Reds 6-2 as they improve to 56-54. The Reds drop to 49-62. Jeremy Hellickson improves to 5-2. Matt Harvey drops to 5-7. The Indians defeated the Angels 3-0 as they improved to 16-49. The Angels dropped to 55-57. Corey Kluber improves to 14-6. Felix Pena drops to 1-3. The Brewers defeated the Rockies 8-4 as they improved to 65-49. Colorado drops to 58-52. Freddie Peralta improves to 5-2. Tyler Anderson drops to 6-4. Josh Hader gets his 8th save of the year. The Twins defeated the Royals 8-2 as they improved to 51-58. The Royals dropped to 34-76. Jose Berrios improves to 11-8. Bert Smith drops to 1-3. The Mets defeated the Braves 3-0 as they improved to 45-63. The Braves dropped to 59-48. Zach Wheeler improves to 6-6. Kevin Gossman drops to 0-1 as a Brave. Robert Gesellman gets his 6th save of the year. The Rangers defeated the Orioles 3-1 as they improved to 49-63. The O's dropped to 33-78. Mike Minor improves to 8-6. Dylan Bundy drops to 7-10. Jose Leclerc gets his first save of the season. The Diamondbacks defeated the Giants 9-3 as they improved to 62-50. San Fran drops to 56-56. Clay Buchholz improves to 5-1. Andrew Suarez drops to 4-7. The Athletics defeated the Tigers 2-1 as they improved to 66-46. Detroit drops to 47-64. Edwin Jackson improves to 3-2. Jordan Zimmerman drops to 4-4. Blake Trinan gets his 28th save of the season. The Astros absolutely destroyed the Dodgers 14-0 as they improved to 71-41. The Dodgers dropped to 61-51. Brad Peacock improves to 2-4. Kenta Maeda drops to 7-7. The Blue Jays defeated the Mariners 5-1 as they improved to 51-59. Seattle drops to 63-48. Marco Estrada improves to 5-8. James Paxton drops to 9-5. Today's games: 1 o'clock, Angels-Indians. It's TBS. Deck McGuire and Shane Bieber. Bieber's shown some promise as a rookie. I think the Indians will take this game and this series from the Angels. The Braves and the Mets: Julio Teheran and Corey Oswalt. White Sox-Rays: James Shields and Hunter Wood. 1:35, Reds-Nats: Luis Castillo and Tanner Roark. Marlins-Phillies: Dan Straily and Aaron Nola. Cardinals-Pirates: Jack Flaherty and Trevor Williams. 2 o'clock, Rockies-Brewers: John Gray and Wade Miley. Royals-Twins: Danny Duffy and Irvin Santana. 2:20, Padres-Cubs: Joey Lucchesi and John Lester. 3 o'clock, Orioles-Rangers. Rangers going for the sweep: Jeffrey Ramirez and Drew Hutchinson. Giants-Diamondbacks at 4 o'clock: Derek Holland and Robbie Ray. Tigers-Athletics: Francisco Liriano and Trevor Cahill. The A's going for a sweep too. The Blue Jays and the Mariners. The Blue Jays are going for a sweep too. Sam Gaviglio and Mike Leake. Astros, Dodgers. The Astros also going for a sweep. Garrett Cole and Walker Buehler. And the Red Sox are going for a sweep on Sunday Night Baseball tonight against the Yankees. 8 o'clock ESPN. Matt Vasgersian, Alex Rodriguez, Jessica Mendoza, and Buster Olney on the call. Masahiro Tanaka and David Price. I'm tempted to say the Red Sox are going to sweep, but David Price, throughout his Red Sox career, has struggled against the Yankees. Masahiro Tanaka's on a scoreless streak right now, from a pitching standpoint. I'm going to take a chance to say that the Yankees salvage the final game of the series. They've owned David Price, and I believe that they'll get within 7.5 games of the division, although I feel like the Red Sox have this wrapped up already, courtesy of them dominating these first 3 games of the series. Quarterback rankings. This was pretty fun to do. Had some opinions on Twitter about some certain ones because I was unsure where to rank them. There's a couple backup quarterbacks or third-string quarterbacks on this list because there are going to be a few teams that we might see 3 quarterbacks play in. I think we know which 2 teams are going to have 3 quarterbacks on their roster for a lot of the year. So I have 40 quarterbacks on this list. I'm going to rank them 40 to 1. And 40 through 37 just happen to be the 4 quarterbacks that were taken within the first 15 picks or so. And that's Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and Sam Darnold in that order, 40 through 37. Mayfield, I think, could see time if Tyrod Taylor struggles out of the gate. Allen, I do not think will start the season, although I think he should. A.J. McCarron's a veteran placeholder, as well as the quarterbacks that Josh Rosen will be backing up in Mike Glennon and Sam Bradford. And the quarterbacks that Sam Darnold will be backing up in journeyman Josh McCown and Teddy Bridgewater. So those 4 are purposely at the bottom of the list due to the fact that they won't even start the season as starters. Number 36, I just mentioned him, A.J. McCarron. He's never really been a full-time starter. He'll probably start some games this season, probably in the beginning of the year, before Josh Allen is ready. 35, Mike Glennon. He could see some time, although I believe Sam Bradford will be the starter. 34 is Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to be starting the first 3 games of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers season, while Jameis Winston is suspended. 33 is Josh McCown. He will probably be the starting quarterback on opening day, although I do think it should be Sam Darnold, because I believe he's the most talented quarterback on the roster. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I believe he's more talented than McCown too, but he's coming off an injury and hasn't really shown much other than a brief appearance in a Vikings game last season. Number 32, Tyrod Taylor. I just mentioned him. He'll be starting the season as the quarterback of the Browns. Number 31 is Ryan Tannehill. The Miami Dolphins hasn't played last year and really in 2 years because he got hurt midway through the season in 2016 as well. I believe he's a quarterback that's on the hot seat due to his injury history, and the Dolphins were looking to draft a quarterback last year in the first round. Number 30, I just talked about Teddy Bridgewater a little bit and how he saw some brief time with the Vikings last year in garbage time. 29 is Mitch Trubisky. A lot of folks think he'll make the leap this year. I believe he will too. It's a matter of when, not if. I think he is the most likely candidate to be this year's version of Jared Goff. Number 28, Blake Bortles. I am not a Bortles fan. There are a lot of people out there that think that the Jaguars should have took a quarterback and should have taken Lamar Jackson. I didn't even include Lamar on this list because I think that Joe Flacco will be the quarterback all year of the Ravens. I'll get the Flacco in a little bit in these rankings. But Bortles deserves credit for Jacksonville going to the AFC title game last year. But I just don't think he's the long-term answer at quarterback despite getting a contract extension in the offseason. Number 27 is Case Keenum. I think he will regress this season. He's on a much worse team than he was in Minnesota. Denver's in a much more difficult division than Minnesota is, although Aaron Rodgers is in the NFC North. But I think Keenum regresses this year. He doesn't have as strong as weapons as he did in Minnesota as well. 26 is Sam Bradford. He'll start the season as the starting quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. He's too injury prone, although when he's healthy, he can be pretty solid. 25 is Andy Dalton, somebody who has regressed over the last few years. Pretty much since he got hurt at the end of the 2015 season, he's regressed. His team was a playoff contender the first couple years of his career. They haven't made the playoffs in a few years. I still think he's talented, but who are his options outside of A.J. Green to throw to? And plus, he does have the tight ends, but I'm talking about from a receiver standpoint. Will John Ross finally have an impact? We'll see. We'll get to receiver rankings on Tuesday's podcast. Number 24 is Dak Prescott. Similar situation to Dalton. Who is he throwing to? Is Terrence Williams the Cowboys' number one receiver? It looks like that right now. Cole Beasley, I believe, still on this roster. And they probably should have drafted like a Calvin Ridley or somebody like that in the first round. Although they did address a bigger long-term need with their first-round pick with the linebacker. And I believe that this is a big year for Dak. If he has another subpar season, then there's going to be media heads and probably people in the Cowboys front office that think that they should draft another quarterback to challenge Dak a little bit. So he's under a bit of pressure this year. 23, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. I know this is kind of high for a guy that really didn't play much last year, but I'm believing in his upside. He played in a game, Week 17 last year in Denver, and I thought he was pretty solid. I think this is a breakout quarterback this season, too. 22 is Jameis Winston of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's somebody that's under pressure this year. In my opinion, he was the number one pick a couple years ago. And they really haven't been that good of a team, although they were in contention a few years ago. But they fell out of the race. Number 21 is Joe Flacco, a quarterback on the hot seat this year with the drafting of Lamar Jackson. He signed that big contract after he won the Super Bowl. The Ravens really haven't been relevant since, although they might have made a playoff appearance in there maybe once. They did, actually. 2015, it was the 2014 season, but the game that took place in 2015, they almost knocked off New England in that playoff round. And he hasn't really done much since. The Ravens had a couple subpar seasons, and now John Harbaugh's on the hot seat. 20, Eli Manning, a quarterback that I think is under some pressure, although they drafted Saquon Barkley to take pressure off him. If he has a bad year, there's going to be people calling for why didn't they draft Sam Darnold and why did they take Saquon Barkley. That's my argument for why Eli Manning's facing some pressure. He's a quarterback in decline. He's been in decline over the last really 5+ years, although he had 2 nice seasons when Ben McAdoo was the offensive coordinator. But my take is that Odell Beckham Jr. had a lot to do with it. And when a quarterback is aging, you got to have good weapons around you. Just look at Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers and Ben Roethlisberger. And that's probably why the Giants decided to take Barkley and keep their future Hall of Famer under center. And they didn't want to embarrass him like Ben McAdoo did last year by benching him. 19, Alex Smith, Washington Redskins. Smith is somebody that is a veteran. He knows what he's doing, but has that reputation of he doesn't win you a Super Bowl. Number 18 is Kirk Cousins, the former Redskin quarterback, now the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. I might regret putting Cousins this low. I think he's poised to have a big season with a lot of good weapons around him. And I think that the Vikings could be poised for big things this season. 17 is Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions. He's somebody that also has a reputation of you're not winning a Super Bowl with him. He's only played in, I believe, 3 career playoff games. Number 16 is Nick Foles. This is probably the highest rated backup quarterback on this list. He's this high because he led his team to a Super Bowl. And he'll probably start the first couple weeks of the season if Carson Wentz isn't ready. And if there's a backup better than Nick Foles, I think you're crazy. He's the best backup in the league. I think that a team like the Buffalo Bills should have taken a chance with him instead of riding with A.J. McCarron to start the year. And I'm talking about Foles as a placeholder. And the Eagles are lucky that they decided to keep Foles, and they made the right decision ultimately to keep him, I think, because you never know when Wentz could be back or not. He might not even be back till week 8 for what we know, but we'll see. But on the flip side, there could be some downside. If Foles flops like he did with the Rams, then a team like the Giants or the Cowboys or the Redskins could possibly take advantage of that and perhaps steal the NFC East away from Philly. Number 15 is Marcus Mariota of the Tennessee Titans. I expect a big year from Mariota. He didn't have that great of a year last year after many folks expected him to be in the conversation for the MVP last year. But I expect a better year from him this upcoming season, especially with the development of Derrick Henry. Number 14 is Jared Goff, somebody who had a breakout year a year ago. I don't think that was a fluke. I think that he's going to be a very good quarterback. There's a reason why the Rams traded up a couple years ago to get him. Number 13 is Andrew Luck. A lot of people are going to yell at me because he's too low. Or there could be people yelling at me because he's too high. But I couldn't figure out the right spot for Andrew Luck on this list. But I believe this is the right spot. He really hasn't played in 2 years either due to injuries. Is he the same guy as he was his first couple years of his career, carrying the Colts to the playoffs? Or is he a guy that will look rusty in his first couple starts back and will take time to get back to that level eventually? It's remained to be seen. Number 12 is Jimmy Garoppolo of the San Francisco 49ers. Another quarterback that people are going to yell at me too high or too low, depending on the crowd of, oh, he's elite, or, oh, he's not elite, and it was a fluke. I'm somewhere in the middle. I do not think Garoppolo has great talent around him, although he is somebody that can make that talent look better, as he showed last year. Number 11 is Deshaun Watson. This is a generous ranking for a quarterback that only played in a handful of games last year, but what I saw last year was a special quarterback that is going to be good for years and years and years to come. I'm a big fan of Watson. I think he can be in play for the MVP award this season. He's a huge reason why I'm going to be very bullish on the Houston Texans this season. Number 10, Derek Carr, Oakland Raiders, somebody that was hurt last year and pretty much cost the Raiders a playoff chance last year. I think he'll have a better year than last year. He has some better weapons around him. I think Jordy Nelson will prove to be a good addition to this team. Number 9, Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawks. He's losing a lot of weapons, and he's lost a lot of weapons over the last few years, but he's still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. This season's going to be a big test for Wilson and whether he could be a real leader or not, because let's face it, the Seahawks division got better while they got worse. Number 8, Cam Newton, Carolina Panthers. Somebody that has had a weird reputation of he's a great player, he's a franchise guy, or no, he's not that. I think he's closer to being elite than not elite. Yeah, he doesn't have the greatest weapons in the world. He's made Jonathan Stewart look good in his career. He's made some subpar receivers look good in their careers. I'm not a big Kelvin Benjamin fan, but I thought Cam made him look pretty good. And the drafting of DJ Moore is going to help this team tremendously, I think. And I expect a big breakout from Christian McCaffrey this year, too, which will also help Cam a lot. And don't forget, Cam won an MVP a few years ago, too. So that can't be forgotten. Number 7, Phillip Rivers, Los Angeles Chargers. Phillip Rivers is still a very good quarterback. Yes, he has a lot of great weapons around him with Melvin Gordon and Keenan Allen. I think the Chargers, despite a lot of injuries in the preseason, will be a contender this year. And having a very good quarterback with Rivers is a big reason why. Number 6, Carson Wentz, Philadelphia Eagles. A bit of a high ranking for a guy that just tore his ACL. But last year, Wentz was on his way to the NFL MVP award. Then he tears his ACL, and Tom Brady has that award courtesy of Wentz tearing his ACL. Let's be honest about that. As much as I'm a big fan of Tom Brady, I'll get to him in a little bit in these rankings. But I think Wentz's arrow is pointing up, although I do think the ACL could prove to be a setback for him. But I see a lot of talent in Wentz, and I believe he will eventually be a top 5 quarterback in this league, although I have him at 6 right now. 5 is Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons. He's been a very good quarterback throughout his career. I know he gets a lot of backlash because the Falcons blew the lead in the Super Bowl, and people like to point at quarterbacks for teams blowing leads, but no, in reality, it's a team's defense that chokes away leads, although interceptions could be a part of it too. And so could fumbles or any other somewhat fluke plays like that. But Matt Ryan's a great quarterback. He's lucky to have great weapons around him, such as Julio Jones, and a great running game with Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. I do think the Falcons are poised for a good year this year. 4, Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints. Brees has really not shown any signs of slowing down. A lot has to do with the fact that the Saints brought in some talent, such as Michael Thomas and the rest of that receiving core. And then they also have Mark Ingram still there. You also have Alvin Kamara, who really was the engineer of that offense last year. But Brees is still an elite quarterback in this league and has shown no signs of slowing down. 3, Ben Roethlisberger, somebody that's been elite for over a decade now. He's the force to the engine for the Steelers. Yes, he's lucky that he has Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown on his team and a bunch of other great weapons as well. 2, Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay Packers. It's unfortunate that Rodgers has been hurt a lot throughout his career, but when he's healthy, he's arguably the best quarterback in the league. He's a 2-time MVP winner. He's single-handedly carried the Packers to the playoffs in the past, and that could be one of those years this year. Number 1, Tom Brady, New England Patriots. Yes, Brady over Rodgers, courtesy of the fact that the Patriots have been to the last 2 Super Bowls, and that's mostly because of Tom Brady and his brilliance. And he's made a lot of subpar players turn into great players, such as guys like James White and even Julian Edelman. Not that Edelman's subpar, but guys like that. And he's a big reason why Rob Gronkowski is an elite tight end in today's game. Bill Belichick is a big reason why for the Patriots' success too, but it always starts with the head coach and quarterback, they say, and Tom Brady is Bill Belichick's quarterback. And yes, there's been some off-season turmoil with Brady and Belichick, but this is still the Patriots, and they always find the way to overcome all of this. And I mentioned Brady won the MVP last year, but as I mentioned, that would have been Wentz if Wentz didn't tear his ACL. But that said, Brady's the best quarterback in football right now, and that won't be for long, I think, as perhaps Rodgers can get healthy. You could even talk me into a guy that I mentioned before, Deshaun Watson, who I think is on his way to big things. If Carson Wentz comes back to the guy that he showed in the beginning of last season, then he'll be in that conversation eventually after Brady retires as well. So there you go. Tom Brady's number one over Aaron Rodgers. And that, to me, wasn't that easy of a call. That's it for the quarterback rankings, and that's it for today's podcast. I'll be back tomorrow recapping all the baseball action, do my power rankings, pick players of the week for baseball, and also be doing running back rankings. I hope you guys have a great day, everyone.